Why do Muslims not believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? Why are they so against this idea? This video will give you an understanding of the Muslim perspective and outline the core reasons that cause this deep spiritual disagreement. The Muslim faith is one with beliefs and teachings that are deeply cherished. These beliefs are contained in the Quran and taught to Muslims. It is their holy book and is well respected. It makes sense that any belief or teaching that seems to contradict this holy book would be rejected by a Muslim. One of such is the term Son of God. This term is used frequently in the Bible to refer to Jesus by men such as John. In John chapter 1 verse 34, John said, "I bear witness that Jesus is the Son of God." Also, when John baptized Jesus, and as he pulled him out of the water, the heavens opened, and a voice said, "This is my Son, in whom I'm well pleased." Jesus himself, in Matthew chapter 27 verse 43, is said to have called himself the Son of God. This term, Son of God, is what Muslims completely disagree with. You must know, first of all, that many Muslims are actually motivated to read the Gospel. They call it the Injil, which means Gospel, that is the New Testament. Therefore, they are familiar with the story of Jesus. Many Muslims hold a profound reverence for Jesus Christ as a significant prophet in Islam and are curious to learn more about his life and teachings as depicted in the Gospel. Did you know that the Quran also contains information about Jesus? The sacred book of Islam. The Quran has references to Jesus. It contains information about him, and it's because of this that some Muslims are interested in hearing or reading the Gospel about Jesus. Secondly, there is a spiritual hunger among Muslims, seeking answers to questions about the meaning of life, the nature of God, and the path to salvation. They perceive the Gospel as a source of divine guidance and wisdom that may address their spiritual inquiries and provide solace. Additionally, some Muslims are motivated by a desire to please God by gaining knowledge about Jesus and his message, as commanded in the Quran. These reasons help to understand the Muslims' interest in the Gospel, but unfortunately, they stop due to that term used in reference to Jesus Christ, Son of God. Now, it may be quite conflicting that Jesus is mentioned in the Quran and in the Bible, but the Muslims would rather read about Jesus in the Quran than in the Bible. Why is that? To answer that question, we must first understand who Jesus is in Islam and what the Quran says about him. In Islam, Jesus is known as Isa, which is Arabic. He holds a revered status as one of the major prophets. Muslims believe that Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary through the miraculous intervention of God's will, similar to the Christian belief. However, Islamic teachings differ from Christian theology regarding the nature of Jesus. In Islam, Jesus is considered a human prophet, not divine, and is subordinate to Allah, who is God. In other words, Islam teaches that Jesus is just a man, like any other prophet was, and cannot be God, or one with him, contrary to what Jesus said concerning himself in the Bible. In Islam, he is regarded as a messenger sent to the Israelites, preaching monotheism and delivering God's guidance. Muslims also believe that Jesus performed miracles, such as healing the sick and raising the dead, with the permission of God. However, Islam rejects the Christian concept of the Trinity and the divinity of Jesus, emphasizing the absolute oneness of God. According to Islamic belief, Jesus was neither crucified nor resurrected, but was instead raised to the heavens by God. Muslims anticipate Jesus' return to earth in the future as a sign of the Day of Judgment, where he will play a significant role in establishing justice and peace. Overall, Jesus holds a revered position in Islam as a prophet and messenger of God, embodying virtues of compassion, humility, and devotion to God. Now we see what the Muslim believes about Jesus, and we can understand where the disparity comes in. Although the Bible and Quran contain information about Jesus, they are at loggerheads in the specific information contained in either book. One of the major differences is the reference to Jesus as the Son of God. The Bible advocates this strongly, while the Quran blatantly rejects it. In Islamic theology, the term is interpreted in a strictly monotheistic context, where any suggestion of divine offspring is seen as a direct challenge to the oneness of God. When Muslims encounter the term Son of God in translations of the Gospel, they may perceive it as implying a biological relationship between God and Jesus. This translation evokes deep-seated fear and discomfort, as Muslims fear offending God or incurring divine wrath by acknowledging such a concept. Consequently, the literal translation of Son of God creates a significant barrier to the reception of the gospel message among Muslims. Additionally, the term Son of God is considered a taboo in Muslim cultures. Why is it a taboo term? Well, this is because Muslims consider the term itself to be an insult to God, and according to Al-Ma'idah 5:18, they fear that ascribing it to Jesus or anyone else will bring upon them God's wrath and eternity in hell, regardless of the term's meaning. This is the reason behind their entrenched resistance to the term. Stated differently, the primary issue with this phrase is not theological, as many Christians believe, nor is it only a semantic distinction. Rather, it is a cultural and emotive phenomena, since it is a completely forbidden term. The rationale is that individuals in the majority of Muslim societies are brought up in the Islamic faith, and right from childhood they've been taught based on the Quran that states at Tawbah 9 verse 30 that regardless of what one means when one declares that Jesus is Ibnullah, or a son of God, one will be damned and destroyed by God. This word is so offensive to God's grandeur, according to the Quran in Maryam chapter 19 verse 88 to 92, that it may divide the earth, cause the mountains to crumble, and shatter the skies. Naturally, the greatest worry of a Muslim who agrees to this word is not that the mountains and stars would suffer, but rather that their own soul will be doomed to hell for all eternity. Although these differences in faith seem insurmountable and don't appear to have any immediate solution because no side is likely to compromise its claim or rescind its stance, we can, however, manage this disparity in manners that promote peace. One of the ways we can navigate this is by using alternative translations that avoid the taboo term Son of God in Islam while conveying the intended meaning and thought. Some of these terms include Beloved of God. This translation emphasizes the special relationship between Jesus and God without implying literal divine parentage. Chosen servant of God. This translation highlights Jesus' role as a prophet and messenger of God, emphasizing his obedience and submission to God's will. Divine representative of God. This translation underscores Jesus' unique status as a divine envoy or ambassador of God, emphasizing his role as a mediator between God and humanity. Spiritual Son of God. This translation conveys the spiritual or metaphorical sense of sonship, emphasizing Jesus' close connection to God without implying a physical or biological relationship. God's Anointed One. This translation emphasizes Jesus' role as the Messiah or Christ, emphasizing his divine appointment and mission according to Christian belief. Using alternative translations that are respectful and sensitive to Islamic beliefs can facilitate dialogue and understanding between Christians and Muslims on the topic of Jesus' relationship with God. Footnotes and explanations also serve as invaluable tools in bridging the gap between Christians and Muslims regarding the term Son of God. These annotations offer clarity and context, helping to dispel misconceptions and misunderstandings that may arise due to differing theological perspectives. By providing alternative translations and explanations, footnotes offer a pathway to understanding the nuanced meanings behind religious terminology, fostering mutual respect and dialogue between the two communities. This approach not only promotes cultural sensitivity, but also encourages deeper engagement and appreciation of each other's faith traditions, ultimately fostering greater harmony and cooperation. Inviting a dialogue about these reasons can enrich mutual understanding and promote a sincere search for the truth. The central message is to maintain an open and loving heart, seeking to understand and respect different perspectives while sharing our faith with grace and truth. If you found value in this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend. You can also click the video in front of you to continue learning about the scriptures. Join us in this mission to enlighten minds and hearts, bringing light to the deepest questions of life and faith.